المرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. So here it includes both following them in their good as well as in all the other things. حتى لو دخلوا جحر ضب لدخلتموها. Rasulullah sallallahu also says in another riwayah, "Man sanna fil Islam sunnatan hasanatan." And the riwayah continues, "وَمَنْ سَنَّ فِي الْإِسْلَامِ سُنَّةً سَيِّئَةً." So the word or the term sunnah refers to both following in good as well as following in, or refers to both a good path as well as a bad path. A path of good as well as a path of bad. And we understand the meaning of the term sunnah. So jama'ah is taken from jam'. And ijtima' means to come together. Ijtima' means to come together, which is the opposite of tafarruq. Tafarruq means to split apart, and furqa, which is division. So jama'ah is a group of people that come together and agree on a certain issue. Now Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah was, in a broad sense, taken from the hadith, or a number of hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala speaks about the riwayah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, wherein Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that افترقت اليهود على 71 فرقة وتفرقت النصارى على 72 فرقة وستفترق أمتي على 73 فرقة. So here this riwayah of Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala ends here and stops here. But then there is a ziyada brought from Abdullah ibn Amr, narrated by At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah in his Jami, in which he speaks about what كلهم في النار إلا ملة واحدة. That كلهم في النار إلا ملة واحدة. قالوا من هي يا رسول الله؟ قال ما أنا عليه وأصحابي. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam speaks about, there's a number of points to be taken from here. One is that Rasulullah said that افترقت اليهود, and then he uses وتفرقت النصارى, and then he sallallahu alaihi wasallam says وستفترق أمتي. Why did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam not use the term, if it is the muqabal of the Yahud and the Nasara, so why did Rasulullah not use the term al-Muslimun? Why did he not say, like how he said, افترقت اليهود وتفرقت النصارى? Why did he not say, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that وستفترق المسلمون? Why did he say وستفترق أمتي? Because it is brought as a muqabal. So if it was brought as a muqabal, why was the term al-Muslimun not used? Why did Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam use the term ummati? Now from here, there are those, you see there's a riwayah wherein Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that man laqiya Allah la yushriku bihi shay'an hurimat alayhi an-nar. That whosoever meets Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without having ascribed, maaf for translating, because I'll see you to translate it, because ulama, right? So whosoever meets Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without having ascribed partners unto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that the fire of Jahannam becomes haram upon them. So that riwayah is there. If we say that the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is divided into 73 sects, only one of them will enter Jannah, then there is a ta'arud. Then there is a ta'arud. Because the riwayah mentions, and there are many riwayah that mentions, that whosoever meets Allah without shirk, they will be saved from the fire, they will enter Jannah. In this riwayah tells us here that out of the 73 sects, 72 of them will go to the fire of hell, only one will be saved. So we find that there are those, and a good example and a good explanation you will find in the work of Sheikh Ramadan Saeed Ramadan al-Bouti. He's got a work known as المذاهب الاعتقادية والفلاسفة المعاصرة. In there he explains, and in his opinion, he says when Rasulullah speaks about وَسَتَفْتَرِقُ أُمَّتِي, he says it refers to Ummatul Da'wah and not Ummatul Istijaba. We know that Ummatul Da'wah is all of those who form part of the Ummah of Rasulullah, be they Muslim or not. The Ummatul Da'wah are all of those who are the Ummah of Rasulullah, be they Muslim or not. The Ummatul Istijaba are those who accepted the Da'wah. So Ramadan al-Bouti, he says that the Ummati refers to the Ummatul Da'wah, to everybody. And therefore, the 72 sects that will be excluded, they are those other Adyan. They are those other Adyan. And therefore, this is how he finds a way of making a jump or a tawfiq between these two riwayat. And this brings us to where we find that there are ulama who don't make takfir. And this stems from their understanding of these riwayat. Their takfir, they don't make the takfir because of this riwayat, making jam in this manner. So having said that, the Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah therefore then is a term that was derived from the understanding of this explanation of the hadith, right? Where the Jama'ah refers to these people, ma ana alayhi wa ashabi. There are also ulama who have issues with the ziyada brought by Imam at-Tirmidhi. The ziyada brought by Imam at-Tirmidhi is basically that kullum fin nar illa milla wahida. The previous part where Rasulullah speaks about the Yahud being 71 sects, the Nasara being 72, and his Ummah being 73, after that is narrated by Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala in all the Sunan. And this is accepted by the Muhaddithun and the scholars. However, the part that follows, كلهم في النار إلا ملة واحدة. قيل ومن هي يا رسول الله؟ قال الجماعة قال السواد الأعظم. You understand? So that part, there are ulama who have an issue with this ziyada brought by at-Tirmidhi, to the extent that some of them even weaken it. However, it must be known that at-Tirmidhi is not the only muhaddith that brings this ziyada. At-Tirmidhi brings this ziyada from Abdullah ibn Amr. However, Abu Dawud, rahimahullah, also brings this ziyada, not the exact wording, similar wording with the same meaning. Abu Dawud also narrates from Muawiyah radiallahu ta'ala. You find even Ibn Majah and Mawlana Ihsan is referred to these words this morning, the riwayah of Ibn Majah. Ibn Majah also narrates these words from Abdullah ibn Abbas. So the objection that was raised, it was not, we can respond and say that this is not of the tafarrudat of at-Tirmidhi, but it has been substantiated, it has been narrated by other of the muhaddithun. So that is with regards to the ziyada. It must be understood also that the Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah is a term that was not coined by the letter scholars. Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah is a term or a phrase, even though it was not commonly used previously. It became commonly used and known afterwards, you understand? But this phrase was used by Sahaba radhiyallahu anhum. One example, Ibn Kathir, rahimahullah, under the tafsir of the ayah, يَوْمَ تَبْيَضُّ وُجُوهٌ وَتَسْوَدُّ وُجُوهٌ. Ibn Kathir brings there the interpretation of Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala, where Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala says that يوم أي يوم القيامة تبيض وجوه أي تبيض وجوه أهل السنة والجماعة. This is recorded as the words of Ibn Abbas رضي الله تعالى عنه in the tafsir of Ibn Kathir. يوم تبيض وجوه أي تبيض وجوه أهل السنة والجماعة وتسود أي وجوه وجوه أهل البدع والأهواء. So these are the words of Ibn Abbas رضي الله تعالى عنه. So even though the word was not, the phrase or the term was not common, it has been used by Sahaba Ridwanullah alayhim, and it has been used in the past. You must also know that the Aqeeda of the Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, and commonly the Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, when we speak about Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we refer to the Ash'ira and the Maturidiyah. There are those who refer to the Ahlul Hadith, you understand, with regards to when they speak about the Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. It is inclusive. It is inclusive. This term covers all of this. Because we find the scholars that they have defined the Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah to be the Ahlul Athar, in the regard Ahmad ibn Hanbal to be the Imam of that school. And then they find those who refer to them, that is the one. And then the second group amongst the Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah would be considered to be the Ash'ira, the Imam of which is Abu Hassan al-Ash'ari. And then the Maturidiyah, whose Imam was Abu Mansur al-Maturidi. And then others include a fourth group, which they consider to be the Tasawwuf and the Sufiya. You understand? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best, but generally, those are considered to be the Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. And also why this term was not commonly used initially is because Rasulullah speaks about ma ana alay wa ashabi. So in the era of the Sahaba, the term Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, there was firstly no need for it because there were not many other firaq. And at the same time also, the Sahaba in that era, they are the asl. They are included in when Rasulullah speaks about ma ana alayhi wa ashabi. So there was no need for them to identify themselves as anything other than that. Afterwards, when the various firaq came about, you understand, your Mu'tazila, your Khawarij, your Qadriya, your Murjiya, etc. When these firaq came about, the ulama felt the need to distinguish themselves from these other firaq and these other beliefs that crept into the Muslim Ummah. And there's a number of reasons that gave rise to all of that. You understand? So just to emphasize that there wasn't like I said, there was simply the asl, and there didn't exist many other sects to distinguish the Ahlul Sunnah from there. Sheikh Fawzi Al-Anjari and Sheikh Hamad Al-Sinan. His name is Hamad Nasir, so all Sheikh Hamad for Muhammad. You understand? So his name is Hamad Al-Sinan. You understand? You always back for Muhammad Hamad, but this Sheikh's name is Hamad. So they in their work, they write Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah mustalahun ظهر للدلالة على من كان على منهج السلف الصالح من التمسك بالقرآن والسنن والآثار المروية عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعن أصحابه رضوان الله تعالى عليهم ليتميز عن مذاهب المبتدعة وأهل الأهواء. Right? In order to distinguish them, that was the need for terming or for coining this term, to distinguish them from those firaq that came about. He also mentions, or rather they also mention, وإذا أطلق هذا المصطلح في كتب العلماء فالمقصود به الأشاعرة والماتريدية وأصحاب الحديث. Right? So when this term is used in the books of the ulama, then it refers to the Asha'ira, the Maturidiyya, as well as the Ahlul Hadith. Then another important point is that these ulama, and much mention and discussion has been made about it, that the Asha'ira, the Maturidiyya, Abu Hassan al-Ash'ari, as well as Abu Mansur al-Maturidi, they did not coin or bring about new beliefs. They did not coin and bring about new beliefs. Rather, they codified, you understand, the Aqeeda of the Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. And I want to read this point here. Imam Muqtada الزبيدي states هذه المسائل التي تلقاها الإمامان الأشعري والماتريدي هي أصول الأئمة رحمه الله تعالى. Right? So what was codified and what was arranged by Al-Ash'ari and Al-Maturidi was actually the belief, the aqaid of the Imam before them. He mentioned فالأشعري بنى كتبه على مسائل على كتب من مذهب الإمامين مالك والشافعي. So Al-Ash'ari rahimahullah, he based his aqaid on the aqaid and the teachings of Malik rahimahullah and as well as Al-Shafi'i. أخذ ذلك بوسائط فأيدها وهذبها. أيدها وهذبها. This is basically what Al-Ash'ari did, taking from the aqaid of the likes of Al-Shafi'i, the likes of Malik rahimahullah. He arranged it, he codified it. And then you find وهذب والماتريدي كذلك أخذها من نصوص الإمام أبو حنيفة وهي في 5 كتب. He took from the nusus of Abu Hanifa from his works, Al-Fiqh al-Akbar, his Risala, Al-Fiqh al-Absat, Kitab al-Ilm, and his Wasiyah. So basically that is my contribution for today, breaking down the term Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept and grant us understanding of the da'wah. Alhamdulillah.
We say yes, Jazakumullah to Maulana Ashraf.
There's no request.
Yes. We say Jazakumullah khairan to Maulana Ashraf, inshallah, for those few words, mashallah, of inspiration and information. You know, Maulana has always been this gifted of being like Rasulullah. Wat is Jawamul Kalim? Man woorde, maar hij is baie gedink om te leef van, inshallah. Allah gaan bless Maulana and keep him with us, inshallah. And Allah gaan always guide Maulana, inshallah. That we can benefit from Maulana, inshallah, till his last breath. Just something I want to say, inshallah, about Maulana. Maulana has this gift, man. This, they call it the gift, you know, of the gap. He always tries his way to maneuver him out of something. Remember, Maulana used to tell us a joke always that when Maulana would ask or expected to say something, and all he would say was he would introduce the next speaker. So Maulana started by doing that trick with us. We introduced Maulana Abbas already, aforementioned. Maulana Abbas, inshallah, bismillah. No introduction is needed from Maulana Abbas, mashallah. Maulana is a giant in himself, literally and figuratively, mashallah. Inshallah, just a reminder again, Mashaykh, just let us maintain the adab again, inshallah, is how we did it for our previous speakers, inshallah. Well, very well done to all of us, mashallah. Let us pay attention, let's listen carefully, let's not disturb the speaker, let's not speak while the speaker is speaking, inshallah. And again, the cell phone, inshallah. Jazakumullah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
I think it's now difficult for me to start because we had Mola Ihsan Fortune, Mola Munir Sahab, Mola Anwar Sahab, first Mola Anwar Sahab, and we had Mola Ihsan Fortune, Mola Munir Sahab, and Mola Ashraf Lamar Sahab. They mentioned everything. So I think it's redundant, I don't have to speak now. Everything has been mentioned. But now you are saying to yourself, yes, sis. Anders get on the lunch. And I think this whole function will be coined successful according to how the biryani is going to be. So if the biryani is all right, then the whole function is right. But this is very important discussion. So after greeting the ulama, leaders of our communities, and students of Deen, we greet you with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. There's one sentence which always comes to mind as we're sitting down here. Remember, Alama As-Sabuni rahimahumullah, he said, the day when he started studying, he said to himself that he will remain a student until Qabr. Now I always say this, that we will remain students of Deen, students of Khidmat, for the service of Islam. The moment an alim, a scholar, takes him out of the bracket of being a student, he endangers himself and his knowledge. This is one thing which happens global. It's because we take us out of the bracket of normal being a student for anna alimun. So you students of Deen, all of us, we remind ourselves, Man qala huwa alimun, fahuwa? I can't hear you. Is there load shedding this side? Because there's no load shedding this side. So man qala huwa alimun, fahuwa jahilun. Remember this, wallahi, you write it on your forehead. You never forget the rest of your life. That, oh Allah, make me die as a student of Deen. Now, so with this said, so I'm putting myself now with clarification. I'm a talibun. I'm student. And may these words, inshallah, benefit all of us. Now, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna alhamdulillah nahmadu wa nasta'inu wa nastaghfiruhu wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Man yahdihillah fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlilhu fala hadiya lahu. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كلام الله وخير هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. The best of hadith, remember, Jama'ah is kalamullah, and the best of guidance is the guidance of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. وشر الأمور محدثاتها وشر الأمور محدثاتها. The worst of acts is innovations. وكل محدثة بدعة. All innovations is bid'ah. It is not light. وكل بدعة ضلال وكل ضلال في النار. رواه النسائي. This extra ziyada from the rawi of the hadith. وكل ضلالة في النار. This is رواه النسائي. This is the beginning, and there's a lot of other ayahs. You ulama, you should know this as leaders of a community. Then you recite the khutbah of nikah. This is called khutbatul haja. Any conversation, lecture started by any scholar of deen, you will recite Ya ayyuhan nas ittaqu rabbakum alladhi khalaqakum ila akhir ayah. You recite this by your nikah when you perform for the people, or when you give a khutbah, you call this khutbatul haja. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to recite this whenever he gave an important bayan. You understand? So we start this conversation also with this. What we have seen with ilmul aqaid, ilmul kalam, there's many wordings given for the subject matter, is whenever the scholar starts a book on Aqeeda, they always started with firaqatul batila. Why? Why do they start their books with firaq ahlul bid'ah? With the deviant groups, is first to inform us, and with information comes knowledge, and knowledge is thus translated to empowerment. That the moment the more knowledge I've got, I empower myself because I know now where to go to. So with this, they will bring all the different firaqs. Firaqs means the deviant groups. That we as Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we as Muslims, we should not fall in the traps of their Aqeeda. Or the ulama of Ilmul Hadith, Ilmul Kalam, they will inform us regarding all the firaqs. For a reason being, then as we go along in our life, in this century, in this time, there always pops up again wrong things. Then we can track back and say, no, but that Aqeeda, that was done in that century, or in that century. That's why you will find all kutub of Aqeeda starts with al-firaqu ahlul bid'ah. Mina al-rawafid, the Shia. Rawafid is the Shia. They are the Shia. By definition, they basically hate Sahaba, and they prefer Sayyidina Ali as caliphate to be the first ruler. And they created havoc, so much so. Yeah, they assassinated yani Uthman radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And that became a big war between Muawiyah radiallahu ta'ala anhu and also between Sayyidina Ali. Because over leadership. It was over leadership. Muawiyah was fighting, how can Sayyidina Ali become the Khalifa? And we didn't pick up the blood of Sayyidina Uthman. So much so, Hazrat Muawiyah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he took the shirt, the kurta of Uthman radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and he hanged it. He sent it in the Medina Munawwara, and they brought it back to Damascus. And he hanged the kurta of who? Of Uthman radiallahu ta'ala in the mosque in Damascus. This type of politician, Muawiyah radiallahu ta'ala, was white to incite the people. Hey, listen, yeah, I'm on the right party now. We're going to war with Sayyidina Ali. We're not here to discuss this issue, but see, the masjid. The masjid was what? It was the headquarters of any community. Today, unfortunately, we don't use the masjid only for certain occasions. But, alayadu billah, but the masjid, what do Tablighis call Mabadi masjid? What do you call it?
Masjid Abadi.
Masjid what?
Masjid Abadi.
Oh, you guys should know this. Means to keep alive the masjid. Now, this was Muawiyah, politician, groomed by the best of the best. His father, Sufyan. So he incited the people. The reason why I'm stressing this story, I'm going to come back to another story. So that was the Rawafid. Because if we study the history, Mawlana Munir Sabi explained the history of Abu Hassan Ash'ari, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and then he was a Mu'tazila for 40 years. 40 years. And then he got dreams in Ramadan, 3 consecutive nights. He saw Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in the dream, and Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says to him in the dream, listen here, Abba Mansur, why are you leaving my way? And then he secluded himself from Ali al-Jubai, and then what he does, just help me push this page to the back. Let's put it a little bit to the back. After 15 days, Abu Hassan al-Ash'ari, radiallahu ta'ala, he gets on the minbar in the mosque in Damascus, and he makes an announcement like this, like I'm removing my jacket, I'm removing myself from the Aqeeda of Mu'tazila. So who can debate that? Nobody can debate that. He done this in the mosque, in Damascus, to say no doubt, I'm removing myself from I'tizal, from Ali al-Jubai, his stepfather. So remove yourself totally from Aqeeda of the Mu'tazila. And then he migrated over to Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Mawlana Munir went to lengthy discussion saying, from where did you go? He went to Abu Sa'id al-Kullabi. And then the modern day Salafiyah, they claim that this Sheikh, Ali al-Jubai, no, Abu Sa'id al-Kullabi, he was not from Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. I say to you, you are clever people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you with intelligence. With who did this 40-year-old Mu'tazila debate with? With who? And who was he fighting with? Was he fighting with inside the parameters of Mu'tazila? Or was he fighting with so-called Sunni? He was a Mu'tazila. Who was the other party? Sunni. So with who did he debate for 40 years? Was Sunni. So who was Al-Kullabi? He was Sunni. Sunni. So that's why he went and he joined the ranks of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Today they want to say to us that Sheikh Abu Sa'id al-Kullabi, Abdullah bin Kullab, he wasn't from Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Now let's accept that also. The reason why we have this thing with the permission of Mudir Sahib, and Mawlana Anwar Sahib, and Mawlana Ashraf Lamara, was this is all in a response to Brother Tim Humble. Let's be frank. It was a response to Brother Tim Humble in the sense that he reckons that our Aqeeda, our beliefs, come from the Jews and the Christians. And the Munafiqeen and they edited that conversation, and the philosophers. That is the argument. And he made the statement. In defense of him, this video clip, which went so-so, wasn't set in South Africa. It was set in England. He did say it. And when he came to the shores of South Africa, many Muslims then ordered it, maybe they didn't like the guy, I don't know why, whatever reason, but it became highlighted information for us. And we were disturbed in the sense, how can another Muslim, I'm calling him a Muslim, I remember he's a Muslim, don't say funny derogative words about a brother Tim. He says our Aqeeda comes from the Jews and the Christians. I said here, hy sê ons is van die Jode en die Christen, maar hy nog 'n Christen naam. But I was not a Christian. So give me mark for that. I think well, you said it. So our stomach starts boiling inside, because how can another Muslim say that we are not Muslims and we are Muslims? There's no doubt about it. So it's unfair, and we felt very disturbed. And we felt that if we're not going to do something, our ummah can get lost. So what is the best door to open? Open the doors for the ulama. If you open the doors for the ulama, and we try to drive the ulama or steer the ulama in a certain direction, then hopefully inshallah, lot of faida will come. Because what is the principle? الناس والمرء على دين خليله هذا هو المكتوب على المكتب. الناس المرء على دين خليله. A man is on the religion of his leader. So if the ulama is steered in a certain direction, then automatically all our communities will be safeguarded. And in that way, it's a khidmat for deen. So let's come back. I got on the member to show to you. Sometimes, let me tell you, I think I need water. Sometimes after sitting long, you forget all the kalam. Die enigste iets wat julle gaan onthou is hy Bariane reg is en haar trek hulle nou op. You understand? So, the purpose why I got on the member is to awaken them. Listen here, this is the haq. The whole masjid in Damascus is written in all history books. The same like the other day I was doing the hadith about the miracle where Rasul split the moon. So it happened, it occurred in Makkah. So it was split on one Jabal Hira and the other side the moon was on that side. So I told the students, this happened in Makkah, but it was witnessed global. Global. It's written in the history books. The kuffar didn't want to accept it. So when the sun eclipse occurred or the moon eclipse occurred for the death of Ibrahim, the son of Nabi alayhi, it occurred global. In Europe it was also cited. It's recorded. Do not think for one moment that this information is only restricted to Jaziratul Arab, to the Arab Peninsula. It's not. So when Abu Hassan actually got on the minbar, he made it clear for the people, I am no more Mu'tazila. In these books, he wrote Al-Ibana. That is one book. Al-Risala ila Ahli Thaqr, to the deviant people. And he wrote another book, Kitab al-Luma'i, another book. In that three books, Abu Hassan Ashari, he explains his Aqeeda. Truly his Aqeeda. But the one book which stands out, especially today, is Al-Maqalat al-Islamiyin, where he says, he narrates not his Aqeeda in that book. He narrates the Aqeeda of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, rahimahumullah. And he says, وَإِلَيْهِ نَذَرْ وَإِلَيْهِ نَذَرْ وَإِلَيْهِ نَذَرْ. And in another statement he will say, هُوَ الْحَقِّ وَهُوَ الْحَقِّ. So he makes clarification that this is the true madhab which he goes. Today they want to say to you that your Aqeeda comes from Jews and Christians. Now let's go back again. So it shows that Abu Hassan Ashari, he was Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Where the problem comes in here is when the Asha'ira, they have been accused, we don't take to Imam Abu Hassan Ashari. Just a nice word for you guys. If any person asks you, what is your Aqeedah? You say to him, I'm Ash'ari. You say to him, I'm Ash'ari. You never say you are Ash'ira. Because according to today's Salafiyah, they believe there's a big difference if you say Ash'ariya or Ash'ira. If you say Ash'ira, that means you say you're going to go to Jahannam. You don't believe me. Sheikh Dr. Uthman Al-Khamis, verbatim, on YouTube, you You can check it up. Abu Bakr, you can share it with the ulama. He says, Mullah Abu Qadir, Mullah Ashraf just go to the hadith. That عن أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه أنه قال تفترق أمتي إلى 73 فرقة. هذا هو الحديث رواه ابن ماجه. نعم. Then يعني Dr. Usman al-Khamis says verbatim. وما الفرقة على صراط المستقيم أنا وعلي أصحابي أنا وما علي أصحابي. So Dr. Usman al-Khamis, he says all the other firqas, the Ashaira في نار جهنم, كلهم في نار جهنم, ولكن الأشاعرة أحسن حال is much better than ماتريدية, وأحسن حال من المعتزلة, وأحسن حال من الروافد. Who says this? He says this. So when Brother Tim Humble came to our shows, he said we brought nothing new. Nothing new. It's recorded in their books. They don't classify, they don't take you people, Ash'aris wal Ashaira, as Muslims. كلكم كافرون. كلكم كافرون. How is that possible? They said that if you, I challenge you, go to, what's that place here in Gainesville, they sell the books? Sarwan, Sarwati? Savans. Go to Savans. Just go walk there. All the books of Aqeeda written by modern day Salafiyah. All the books. What's going to happen? Where are we? I'm telling you, Wallahi wa Rasul, bi Rabbil Kaaba. You know, I told my wife, no, I told my daughter the other day, when Lady Aisha radiallahu ta'ala was cross with Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, she would never take his name. Then she will take a qasam bi Rabbil Kaaba. I'm not going to use the name Muhammad, bi Rabbil Kaaba, khalas, because there was no quote for the Nabi. So I'm taking a qasam bi Rabbil Kaaba. Wallahi, just go take a walk down there. If people read information, and they read it a lot, and it is vastly spread, people will start believing that this is the true creed of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Everywhere. Then you're going to say to yourself, but now, one of these days, we were representative of the Islamic belief system for all the centuries. So much so, Ibn Hajar al-Haytham or Haytham, two qira'ats, you can choose whatever you want. Ibn Hajar al-Haytham, he says that what constitutes Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah is who? Ash'ariyah wal Maturidiyah. Khalas. Only that two groups forms Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Then in the same breath, they give the fatwa of who? Alama Subki, Alama Kawthari, Ibn Hajar al-Haytham gives legal fatwa that Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahumullah, should not be followed in masail of i'tiqad. You should not be followed in masail of jurisprudence. Now you're sitting confused. You're sitting and you're saying to yourself, but wait, no. But Prat Abbas nowhere. Abbas likes funny ways. This is recorded in the books. Why? Why is it cautioned? Because I tell you why. He got on the minbar. Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah, he got on the minbar. I can't claim minbar no more. This way. Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah got on the minbar in the mosque in Damascus. And he came down like this. And he said, like I'm coming down, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes down min as-sama' ila sama'i dunya. Now this is my conversation. My conversation is the various formats of approaches of the mutashabihat. What are the mutashabihat? The mutashabihat are the discussions of Yadullah. The mutashabihat is وَجَاءَ رَبُّكَ وَالْمَلَكُ صَفًّا صَفًّا, ay maji'ullah, the coming of Allah. Or the famous hadith which is quoted a lot by Yusuf and his friends, any person who goes move a shibr, Allah Ta'ala comes, I don't know this hadith, comes more closer to him, dira'an, and if you walk, Allah Ta'ala. So how is it possible that Allah Ta'ala can move from intiqal ila intiqal, makan ila makan? It's impossible. So how do Abu Hanifa rahimahullah interpret this hadith? He says it's impossible to say that intiqam min makan in makan, it physically occurred. It's impossible. So Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, he also goes to ta'wil. Imam Bukhari rahimahullah also goes to ta'wil. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal also goes to ta'wil. But they say, I remember our fighters with them. They say that they are followers of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. Let me caution them. That Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal was student of Imam Shafi rahimahullah. Imam Shafi rahimahullah was student of Imam Malik rahimahullah. Imam Malik rahimahullah was student of Nafi'. Nafi'. Man huwa Nafi'. He was the liberated slave of Abdullah bin Umar. Imam Muslim rahimahullah was student of Imam Bukhari. All these giants were the Salaf. All these giants were the Salaf. Nobody can detest that. They were the Salaf of this Ummah. So now today, they say to us that listen here, now we are Salafiyah. I'm going to conclude with that. Not maybe conclude. The one thing which I want to say before we go is, like I've just said now, the Rawafid. Are you finished? Are you finished? Khalas? What do you want? Yeah, because you're disturbing the mutakallim. Shaitan comes in many forms. Mullah Sima used to say that. One day a student comes in and he says, Maulana, I need the phone number of Jamiat or Transvaal or something. Mullah tell him, you know what? Dial any number, just near to the Jamiat. You know, sometimes we say that, yeah, it was our satira, but sometimes that they go so quick. And today you sit here, and we are now viewed by our students now as so-called seniors. But it was no, I'm not cleanses for this. We never knew that this is going to happen. But may Allah keep us guided. We have the Rawafid, the Shia. We have the Khawarij. The Khawarij, they were solid people. Eh? There was no doubt about the Khawarij i'tiqad. They never was accused of fabrication of hadith. They firmly believe الَّذِينَ يُكَفِّرُونَ مُرْتَكِبِي الْكَبِيرَةِ. They make kafir any person who commits a big sin. They just said, hey, Ruh, you kafir. Then we have the Qadariyas, we have the Murji'ah, we have the Mu'tazila. The main reason why the Mu'tazila is singled out still today, you find them still a lot, the Mu'tazila. They make Nafi Sifat. They negate Sifat, Nafi Qadr, Nafi Ru'yatullah. They got the station between two stations. They give intellect, Aql, superiority over text. Now that is dangerous. That is very dangerous. The moment you give intellect superiority over Naql. No, yes, Naql is text. So, a simple rod against that is the riwayat of Sayyidina Ali. He says that if Islam was based on rationality, on intellect, then one should have made masa of the khuf, the bottom part. But in all your kutub of fiqh, besides the kutub of the Shia, they say we say we make masa on top. And you know, when you people wear your khufs, you still got the luxury of putting it in the sandals. The Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala, they walked with their leather socks. They walked with it. So the leather socks went through wear and tear. No doubt about it. But if there was any dirt, it should have been preferred underneath. Now Sayyidina Ali, karamallahu wajh, he says, no, you make masa on top. So by this hadith, we prove that Islam is based on evidence and rational, but not all rational. Do we understand that sentence? No? So the Mu'tazila, they went very far in interpreting the Quran verses, and they gave preference to intellect. Now Abu Hassan Ashari, by his own words, recorded in the book of Al-Ibana, he says, Inni kuntu aqul bi khalqi al-Quran. I used to say that the Quran is a created entity. Oh, that sentence, a Quran is a created entity, it means when the Sahaba went to Battle of Badr, Allah Ta'ala speaks about the story in the Quran. Or Allah Ta'ala speaks about Abu Lahab, Tabbat Yada Abi Lahab. You understand? So, if you say that the Quran is a created entity, that means to say as the occurrence occurred, then information came and then Allah SWT revealed it. So we are restricting Allah Ta'ala's ilm to occurrences. It first had to happen, then Allah SWT revealed. So we don't say Allah Ta'ala is kamil in ilm and the knower of everything. So this is the most important sentence. If we say, alayadu billah, like the Mu'tazila say, that the Quran is created, it is not created. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah is the one Imam which stands out. Do not be fooled. Whenever they quote the Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, that he's the only Imam which stood out on this Aqeeda. Alama Buwaiti rahimahumullah. You know who's Alama Buwaiti? Alama Buwaiti and Alama Muzni. Alama Buwaiti was sahiban of Imam Shafi rahimahullah. Like Muhammad bin Yusuf of Abu Hanifa. Alama Buwaiti, he was in prison, shackled from Egypt to the prisons in Damascus. And the Kutubul history will say what was the weight of that iron, because he refused to say that the Quran was a created entity. Likewise, Ahmad bin Hanbal and many of the other scholars, they went to Taqiyya. You know what's Taqiyya? What is Taqiyya? It's a Shia doctrine. But you Sunnis also used it. Because they said, no, the Quran is created because of fear of eating. But Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, he stood out as a pillar and to show that no, like Mullah Munir said, they influenced the authorities at that time so much, they had the upper hand also. Until things changed, when the dynasties changed, the Umayyad dynasty, the Abbasid dynasties changed, and then the Ahlus Sunnah crept in by the authorities, and that gave leniency again to the ulama al-haq. You understand? So Alama Buzni, on his way in Damascus, he passed away, and that was his. You know, Alama Muzni, if you look to Imam al-Tahawi, Imam Tahawi, he was direct student of who? Of Sahiban, Muhammad and Yusuf, Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah. Alright? And Abu Hassan al-Ashari, he was student of Alama Muzni. He was student of Alama Muzni, which was student of Imam Shafi. Can you see the intertwine? Everything is connected amongst the scholars of Deen. Now, so he says, إِنِّي كُنْتُ أَقُولُ بِخَلْقِ الْقُرْآنِ وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُرَى بِالْأَبْصَارِ. And I used to believe that Almighty Allah won't be seen on Qiyamah. وَأَنَّ الشَّرْ, the Mu'tazila believe evil is fi'li, is my act. لَيْسَ بِقَدْرٍ. Allah Ta'ala don't decree evil. That is what they say. وَإِنِّي تَائِبٌ. He says, I'm repenting now. مُعْتَقِدْ الرَّدْ عَلَى الْمُعْتَزِلَ هَذا مَا قَالَ الْإِمَامَ الْعَشَرِ حِينَ تَابَ. And I physically got on the minbar to show you that. Another firqa group is the Jahmiyas. I'm not going to go in detail down there. But one of the most important groups here is Al-Hashawiyya Al-Mushabbiha. They say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has got a form. Alayadu billah. Because they base their argument, Yadullah, the hand of Allah. Maji'ullah, the coming of Allah. What else? Khalaqtu biyaday. Khalaqtu biyaday, Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran. I created you with my two hands. You know, Imam Ahmad Hanbal's madhab, in this verse, he says, any person which says, Khalaqtu biyaday, and he shows his hand, Qata'tu yadahu, I will cut off his hand. Because you cannot say khalaqtu biyaday, it means haqiqatan, literally, because you are assigning body parts to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hada la yajuz. Now, the approaches of the mutashabihat, this gray area, the doubtful, not the clear issues, is very dangerous. Many scholars over the centuries has gone astray with the interpretation of this. Basically, it boils down to basically four madhahib. There is four madhahib. There are four madhahib in this masala. Masala number one, it says that for madhab jumhur salaf, and هذه النصوص من المتشابهات, all these doubtful ayat of ain, yadullah, maji'ullah, dhatullah, etc. التي لا يعلم معناها. Nobody knows it. إلا الله. Only Allah knows it. Then he goes further. فيجب. What must we then do? فيجب فيها التوقف والسكوت. We must make tawakkuf. We stop there. والسكوت. Quiet. Don't speak. ولا حاجة إلى الخوض. It's no need for me and you to go into depth in this masala. في تأويلها, trying to interpret this. فنؤمن بها إجمالا. Overall speaking, we believe in it. ولا نجزم, and we firmly don't believe also بأنه أريد بها معنى الحقيقي أو مجازي. We don't even interpret, does Allah Ta'ala means majazi meaning or hakiki meaning? Hakiki meaning is actually the true meaning, or does Allah Ta'ala means majazi meaning? I say to you, what's your name? Lakin after something? Zikrul Rahman. Must be a bid'ah. Zikrul Rahman. Put a hand upon Zikrul Rahman. Is my hand physically on this guy? No. I mean, I got control over him. So that's one way of interpreting also. But here, Jumhur Salaf, 5 minutes left. I think we're going to delay our Dhuhr. It's all in agreement. Is it okay, Maulana? The food will be warm, inshallah. You understand? So is it a hakiki meaning or majazi meaning? A metaphor meaning? Jumhur ulama, Jumhur salaf, we don't go to that conversation. Is it hakiki or majazi? Bal nakila ilmaha ila Allah. We leave that to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa natruku khawd fi ma'naha. We leave any discussion. We're not going to speak about it. That is the first. But remember, isma'u, Jumhur salaf. Jumhur salaf. That means to say, just by the sentence, it means there are other salaf which got other interpretation. Because Jumhur means majority, not kullu salaf. Okay, let's go to the next one. ذهب جماعة من السلف, another group of the salaf, إلى أننا نعتقد, we firmly believe بأن الله تعالى أراد بها معناها الحقيقي. They say that we have what Allah Ta'ala means by Yadullah, there is a true meaning for it. الذي ولكن المعنى الحقيقي, but the true meaning يعني منها الألفاظ المنسوب إلى الله, that wording is to Allah. فيغاير المعنى الحقيقي. It is different to the true reality meaning when we speak about creation. I show my hand, it is my hand. You understand? So they say that listen here, it can have a hakiki meaning, but not like human beings. This is a bit borderline. Eh? أما كون يدي تعالى وكيفية, as for Allah Ta'ala's hand and his kayfiyah, فلا سبيل إلى معرفة. Then they say conveniently, you don't have, there's no. So what they do, they make tafweed of kayfiyah. Tafweed of kayfiyah. We, Jumhur Salaf, we say, is azbata yuzbitu isbat, means to affirm. Isbatul lafz al-warid. We affirm the word which has been said in the Quran. Who said that? Tom Jones. Allah Ta'ala says, Yadullah. Waja'a rabbuka. Who says this? Allah. So we affirm the word. We can't take a rubber and rub it out of the Quran, but this is Kalamullah. Inna asdaka al-hadith Kalam Allah. I just said it now. So it means that we affirm the word. But فَوَّدَ يُفَوِّدُ التَّفْوِيدُ وَالتَّفْوِيدُ مَعْنَى. We assign the meaning to Allah. We assign the meaning to Allah. Allahu a'lam bi muradihim. It's like you come to me, ask me, Mawlana, permissible, not permissible. So you put your whole dunya trust in me. Ay halal, ay haram, ruh. You understand? So you put your affairs in me. In me, you make tafweed of that. That's the meaning of tafweed. And the last part we say, wa nafyu kayf. Nafa yanfi, nafyu kayf. We negate kayfiyah. We negate it. How can we make yadullah? We don't even say it is majhul. Imam Malik rahimahullah, he says, what's a famous regarding al-istiwa, ar-Rahman istawa al-arsh. So Imam Malik rahimahullah said what? Al-istiwa haqqun. Al-istiwa haqqun. Wal-kayfiyya wal-kayf majhul. Now in one riwayat, Imam Malik rahimahullah says, jahula yajhul majhul. It's a maf'ul. He says, wal-kayf majhul. That riwayat, it is da'if riwayat. The asahhu riwayat is غير معقول, it's not understood. غير معقول means la kayfiyah. Ibn Taymiyyah and the so-called Salafiyah, they say, Imam Malik rahimahullah says, وَالْكَيْفْ مَجْهُولٌ, it means it's majhul, unknown to man, but it is there. That's how they prove hakiki. We say to them, no, the riwayat is not majhul. الصح رواية is what? Is غير معقول, أي بلا كيفية. وسؤالنا بدعة. Asking questions about this is bid'ah. It is bid'ah. وَالْإِيمَانْ بِهِ وَاجِبٌ. And to believe in it is part. You cannot throw it away. So now we say that إثبات لفظ الوارد, we affirm the word in the Quran or in the hadith which is sahih, number one. Number two, we make tafweed uma'na. We assign the meaning totally to Allah. Allahu a'lam. Allah knows best. Why? Based on the verse. Where's the verse? Where did I write this verse now? وَرَازِقُونَ فِي الْعِلْمِ. Where's the Ramadans? وَرَازِقُونَ فِي الْعِلْمِ يَقُولُونَ كُلُّ مِنْ عِنْدِنَا. And those who make رَازِقُونَ فِي الْعِلْمِ, who dive deep into knowledge, they just say كُلُّ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. It is not our duty to know everything. It is when we are too much intellectual, then we try to interpret everything. That's why I must say you this sentence. This sentence says, where's that sentence? The mistakes of the greats. The mistakes of the great are the greatest mistakes. The Mishki Alim wrote this. The mistakes of the great are the greatest mistakes. And honestly, wallahi, that is the truth. So, we don't explain or we don't assign kayfiyah to Allah. We negate kayfiyah. وَنَفِيُ كَيْفِ. Now, the third مذهب, ذهب بعض العلماء من السلف, also من السلف. وَجَمَاعَةٍ مِنَ الْخَلَفِ. Salaf is good, khalaf it means came later. إلى أن هذه النصوص مجيء الله يد الله عين الله, it is مؤولة بما يصرفها عن شبهة التشبيه. We are forced to interpret these verses to take us what? Out of the parameters of giving some information to the audience that Allah Ta'ala has got limbs and parts. So now we say Yadullah ay Qudratullah, Yadullah ay Nusratullah. That is what we do. And who went to this? Anil Hasan al-Basri rahimahumullah annahu fasara qawlu ta'ala Yadullah fawqa aydihim. Hasan al-Basri, you guys know who's Imam Hasan al-Basri rahimahullah, he says Yadullah fawqa aydihim. Yadullah fawqa aydihim biqawlihi ay minnatuhu wa ihsanuhu. Allah Ta'ala's blessings is with it. وكذلك روي عن الإمام البخاري رحمه الله أنه فسر الضحك المنسوب إلى الله تعالى بالرحمة. It refers to الضحك, it refers to رحمة. فنقل الحافظ ابن حجر العسقلاني عن الخطابي أنه قال وقد تأول البخاري رحمه الله الضحك في موضع آخر على معنى رحمة. So whenever our Salaf made interpretation, sometimes they interpreted mu'awwala on that vocab, and it not necessarily will stay on that vocab, it can mean something else. What does this prove? It proves that the Salaf, our Jumhur Salaf, had different interpretations of the mutashabihah. But we mentioned Jumhur Salaf, ay Jama'atu min al-Salaf, Ba'd al-Ulama min al-Salaf, wa Jama'a min al-Khalaf. Wa Jama'a min al-Khalaf. Then they have the audacity to accuse Imam Ghazali rahimahullah of this introduction. This interpretation wasn't done by our Salaf. Then why would you accuse Imam Ghazali of taking from the philosophers and from the Greeks? Does Imam Ghazali rahimahullah need this? He doesn't need this. It's been written and recorded in the books. Next one. وَهُنَاكَ جَمَاعٌ مِنَ الْعُلَمَاءِ يَجْمَعْ بَيْنَ الْأَمْرَيْنِ. And the fourth madhab, they make jump between the two. فَيَخْتَارِ, they take to the road of ta'wil interpretation في النصوص, but in those texts التي تقبل التأويل, which can accept interpretation بلا تكلف, not exerting oneself, جريا on the kalam of the Arabs. وتختار المذهب الأول, they rather take to the first madhab or to the second one, but that which cannot be interpreted in ta'wil. فالمذهب الأول, the first madhab, هو مروي
عن عدد كبير من المحدثين والعلماء السلف. The first madhab has been recorded from majority of the muhaddithin. والواقع, in reality, and هذا المذهب هو الأقوى. This madhab is the strongest. والأسلم والأحوط وهو أوفق المذاهب لقوله تعالى وما يعلم تأويله إلا الله. وما يعلم تأويله إلا الله والراسخون في العلم يقولون آمنا به. One day we were driving to Clipper's Bay on a thingy day. So me and Mullah Anwar was driving. So I asked Mullah Anwar, where you get dalil for madahib in the Quran? Then he says, Allah Ta'ala says, وَرَازِخُونَ. Allah Ta'ala didn't say وَرَازِخ, mufrad. He said, مُذَكَّر jam salim, khalatu rafa' وَرَازِخُونَ. From that you prove madahib. So وَرَازِخُونَ, not just one. Nobody can claim monopoly over the Sharia. Nobody. Be it who. We're going to come to that now. Mullah Shaykh, 2-3 minutes. Mullah, I'm wrapping up now. I'm wrapping up. Samih here. Waqad waqa'a, let me see. Where is it on the statement? All this information I got from Sheikh Umar's Ustad. All this information, وَمِن بَرَكَةِ الْعِلْمِ أَن يُسْنِدَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَى قَائِلِهِ. Remember this. The barakah of knowledge is always associating that knowledge which you are quoting to the one who said it. Sheikh Umar's Ustad, Mullah Taqi Usmani Damat Barakatuh, he's got a book, Maqalatul Uthmaniyah. You can print it, it's on PDF, you know I PDF everything. So you can print it. Sheikh Usmani, Taqi Usmani, he brought this madahib. I agree with Sheikh Taqi Usmani. But on other pages of books of Aqeeda, they don't reckon there's 4 madahibs. But because Mullah Taqi Usmani is very much involved in the fiqh academy of the world, I think under that conditions he is allowed or he must write the other madhab also now, haqiqatan. Because our salaf didn't believe in haqiqatan. Never believe in haqiqatan. But it is out there, and as students of deen, you can decide where you want to go to. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad. The very other important factor is this, before we close up. Most of you guys are Shafi. Or you can't be Imam Shafi because Imam Shafi passed away. But you are Shafi'iyah. Saham la, you are Shafi'iyah. Ashabu Shafi'iyah. So you got Ashabu Malikiyah, Ashabu Shafi'iyah, Ashabu Ahmad bin Hanbal, and Abu Hanifa Hanafiyas. So why did it take the whole ideology of jurisprudence to these great imams and link the information to that? So now we got I'm a Shafi, he's a Hanafi, this guy's a Maliki, and I don't know what is the, but you're on the right path. So you understand? So why did it take their names? Today, these so-called Salafiyah, they want to make it a point of contention. They want to rub it in your face. Then they want to say to you, why you call yourself Ash'ariyah? Then why do they don't have objection when we say, I'm a Shafi'i, I'm a Maliki. They don't have a problem. But today they want to rub it in to say, yeah, well, why you, because the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in the hadith, Ma ana alayhi wa ashabi. So now you must be Salafi. Salafi, when did the Salafi terminology stop? Who was the Salaf? Who was the Salaf? Khairul Qurun Qarni. ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم انتهى. So what right do they have to claim that they are the Salafiyas? By virtue of a name. Then we say, okay, let's throw Abu Hassan Ash'ari's name aside. Let's put it outside. Let's leave his name. Let's leave his name. And I will still prove to you, or we can still prove to you that we are ma'ana alayhi wa ashabi. Don't come tell me by virtue I'm calling myself an Ash'ari that I'm not true Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. And then they say, conveniently, who is the Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah? And conveniently they throw the Ash'ira wal Maturidiyya fi nari Jahannam. Be very careful. Be very careful, because many times you find our ulama quoting Ibn Taymiyyah, Shaykh al-Islam. I'm going to give you an answer for this also. Shaykh Ramadan al-Buti rahimahumullah. Shaykh Ramadan al-Buti rahimahullah, he says in one of his clips, I think you should have that clip also. وَلَا رَغْمِ أَنَّهُ خَالِفْ أَبَا تَيْمِيَّةٍ, irrespective if I dispute with Ibn Taymiyyah في مسائل كثيرة, in a lot of مسائل, ولكن بعد ذكر اسمه, after me saying his name, أنا أقول رحمه الله لأنه كان رجلا مجتهدا. ولكن بعد ذكر عبد الله بن وهاب, founder of the Wahhabi movement, أنا لا أقول بعد ذكر اسمه رحمه الله كان هو رجل. Or Sheikh Ramadan Abuti, he says, after he says Ibn Taymiyyah's name, you will say Rahimahullah. And what does your Amir al-Mu'mineen fi al-Hadith says? Man huwa Amir al-Mu'mineen fi al-Hadith? Imam Asqalani, Ibn Hajar Asqalani, he says, what Ibn Taymiyyah says is good, you take. And whatever it is not good, throw it away. Throw it away. That's why students in Medina Munawwara, I'm telling you, all students who study here, wallahi, you bless. Qasam. They can say, what you Deobandi and all this funny schools, but you bless. Because if students in Medina come in third year, they want to burn the books of Ibn Hajar Asqalani. They want to burn the books of Allama Nawawi. I got the book here, I showed to Mawlana Ismail al-Marhum, I told him here, Aqeeda to Imam Nawawi, the Aqeeda of Imam Nawawi. Mawlana said, these guys want to prove that Imam Nawawi rahimahullah was what? He was a Salafi. He was not Ashari. Ibn Hajar Asqalani was Ashari. Imam Nawawi rahimahullah was Ashari. And they cannot divorce these two giants. So now what do they want to do? They literally want to burn the books of Ibn Hajar Asqalani. Nou vraag ik voor jou, waar is zij om te study? In Medische Yaad of in Medina? There was a student once who said, my familie gedinge gaan naar Yaad toe. So Monik Smali said, to bring Allah voor jou naar onze Yaad toe. May Allah Ta'ala put Noor, Monik Smali, and all out this is. So where were we now? Sometimes I make jokes just to wake you up, you understand? Because I can see you smacking for the biryani. So the name Ash'ari, don't be bothered. If they make objection on the name of Ash'ariya, remember, make objection on Hanafiya, wa Shafi'iyya, wa Malikiyya. وَكَذَلِكَ سَلَفِيَّة. I just want to close up here. Most of the information, like I said, Mawlana Taqi Usmani is Mawlana Sheikh Umar's direct teacher on Tirmidhi Sharif. So Sheikh Umar did study under Mawlana Taqi Usmani. For those guys who maybe forgot it, etc. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Where's the? Didn't I print that last week? Okay. We're going to close up. وقد وقع في ورطة عدم التفريق بينهما مجموع كبيرة من غير متعمقين في العلم من جانبين. Now this book, the other book of reference is Aqeeda to Imam Ash'ari وأين هي من مقام السلفية. This is the book. In 2013, Mawlana Anwar can rectify me, himself, Al-Mudir went to Johannesburg. They were invited to a certain conference in Zakaria, Azadbo. And then Mawlana Anwar, they met Sheikh Allama Ghursi. And they started engaging. And Allama Ghursi, rahimahullah, or Yani Damat Barakatuh, I don't know sometimes what to say, Damat Barakatuh or rahimahullah. It comes to the same thing. He's alive, alhamdulillah. He's in Kunya, he's in Kana, in Turkey now. He's regarded as the muhakkik in Ilm al-Kalam. Allama Ghursi, in all other books. And he gave his book to Mawlana Ismail and Mawlana Anwar, Munawalatan wa Ijazatan. You know what's Munawala? Hey, who's had the kitab Fadrus? I give you Ijaza. Mawlana they met, and alhamdulillah we're teaching this book. Now, most of the information also comes out of this book. You understand? He wants to bring in the moderacy in the field of Ilm al-Kalam. Do not be just one-track minded. Be open. Study the books. But be clever. Read it with an open mind. Then you can tell us, what do you think? Who is on the right path? Now this is the style Allama Ghursi writes his book. And in conclusion, وَقَدْ وَقَى فِي وَرْطَةٍ or فِي وَرْطَةِ عَدَمِ التَّفْرِيقِ بَيْنَهُمَا. The two major groups, many a large factor, which don't have deep understanding regarding this faculty. Min Janibain, from both sides. The Salafiyya والعشرية والماتريدية. الجانب الأول فريق, there's a group which we mentioned, يدعون السلفية. They claim to be Salafiyas. Why? They got the name. And we just told you they stopped by the 3rd century. But they got this name. It's a fantastic name. If you know I'm a Salafi, you say to a person, hey brother, what you are following is not right. Oh hey brother, don't follow madhab. Follow the Quran and the Sunnah. That is the other argument. If they say, brother, follow the Quran and Sunnah, you know what they are saying indirectly? They are saying indirectly to you that you are not following Quran and Sunnah. That is what they're saying to you. You say, what project? You know, it started out with one Imam, Imam Muhammad bin Idris al-Shafi'i. Then it grew over the centuries, and grew over the centuries. So when I say, I am a Shafi scholar, I am part of an army, regiments upon regiments, upon regiments of ulama, which made more tahqiq and more tahqiq within the madhab. Within the madhab. So who am I following? I'm not following no more Muhammad bin Idris al-Shafi. I'm following an army of scholars. Likewise the Hanafiya, likewise the Malikiya. So when it comes to this, also the same. We are not just following Abu Hasan Ashari. Park him. We are following the Aqeeda of the Sahaba, of the Tabi'in, the Tabi'in. Why did he get the Aqeeda? Because by mere association of his name, that's why I say park his name there. Then you tell me what is my Aqeeda. وَقَدْ وَقَعَ. So these two groups, the first group, فَرِيقٌ, they يَدَّعُونَ سَلَفِيَّةً. They claim to be Salafs, Salafiyah. وَأَنَّهُمْ عَلَىٰ عَقِيدَتِهِ, and they are upon the Aqeeda of the Salaf. جَعَلُوا مِنْ عَقِيدَةِ بَعْدِ Salaf. They are formulated, this Aqeeda, only from certain opinions of the Salaf. أو عقيدة جمهور السلف, or it can be the Jumhur of the Salaf. عقيدة للسلف أجمع. Whatever they say, this is the Salaf, that is the only Aqeeda. Or they are so adamant and so bold. وعقيدة للإسلام. They reckon that this is the only Aqeeda for Islam. بضلال كل من خالف هذا. And in the same breath, they say all the other people are straight. وبالأصح, but in reality, man khalafa hadha al-madhab. Whoever goes contrary to their madhab, so they claim monopoly. Then the second group is you people. Al-Janib al-Thani. Fariqun is another group, يعتقد أن عقيدة الإسلام, that the Aqeeda of Islam of Muslims, هي ما عليه الأشعرية والماتريدية. It is only upon that group which constitutes the Aqeeda of Islam. وبالأصح, and in more truth, هي ما عليها المتأخرون منهم. Actually the latter scholars of the Ash'ira والماتريدية. وأن من خالف هذين المذهبين, whoever goes contrary to these two schools of thought, في كبير أو صغير, in any big issue or small issue, مبتدع ضال. Now you can understand why Brother Tim comes to our shores, comes into our house. This is South Africa. And he wants to dictate to us that we are not Muslims. Our Aqeeda comes from the Jews and the Christians. Can you understand? That's why it's fard upon us, in the sense that, inshallah, the future leaders of our communities, we should go out there and preach to our people that this is the true Aqeeda. If we're going to be silent, this obligation is upon us. You know, my one who started Mullah Yunus was mine to say, hey, Mota means fat one. Hey, Mota, you must go. He was very lazy. Hey, Mota, this is your job. Now I'm saying the same to you. Ulama. Ashim Bhai, you're laughing, Ashim Bhai, you know. Because Ashim know you were there. I'm saying to you, this Islam is upon us, upon you. You are the future. You are being groomed. You are being groomed. And this amana is big. That's always die hard. There is Abdullah. Allahumma ij'alni. What's the dua you make, Abdullah? Allahumma ista'milni li khidmati dini. I always object on that dua. I always say, Allahumma ij'alni ahlan li khidmati dini. Oh Allah, make me ahl to do khidmat for dini. You understand? And because today there's a lot of people going around claiming a lot of things. Empower yourself. Empower yourself to go and read the books and study hard. That's why I say, We must always remain in the bracket of being a student. And then inshallah, Allah Ta'ala will take barakah and khair from us. So yeah, this is my few words. So we should not have this notion about claiming ownership. Islam is too big. You understand? You do have an understanding of the madahib, of the mutashabihat. So yeah, apply your minds. If you've got any other question, feel free during the week to for those which graduated and studied. Inshallah. Yeah, speak to the mudir if it's possible. Any questions from your side?
Yeah, Mark.
Any
Before we cross over to the question, inshallah, what you say, Jazakumullah to Maulana for that information. Maulana shared with us, inshallah. We're going to give at least 10 minutes. So we're going to allow 5 to 7 questions from the floor, inshallah. Before we get to that, let us also again maintain the adab of asking a question, inshallah. It's a question, it's not a debate. So it's either you like the answer is to your satisfaction or not, but we're not coming here to debate, inshallah. You ask the question, maybe it's not the answer you want also, inshallah, but it's an answer. Hayakumullah. Maulana wants to say something? Khair, inshallah. So please, Maulana Anwar allocated for us at least 10 minutes, 5 to 7 questions, inshallah, from the floor. Please, when you pose your question, please stand up, inshallah, to show adab to the ustad, inshallah. Jazakumullah. Any questions, inshallah? 5 to 7 questions.
Going once, going twice, khalas.
Khair, inshallah. Maulana, please, can you stand up, please, Maulana, if you don't mind? I know Maulana's no more young. Oh, it is Maulana Shu'aib Appleby, Maulana. Okay. Alaikum salam.
I just wanted clarity because Maulana spoke about the Mu'tazila
No.
and all this Imam Hassan Ash'ari, rahimahullah, took the middle way. So I'm just trying to reconcile. The Mu'tazila, they make the awil, and Hassan Ash'ari, he didn't make the awil, but make the awil. So, but the Maulana gave a different explanation about interpretation, for example, at hand and so. So, I just wanted like some kind of clarity because the Mu'tazila was state a give interpretation to the Sifa, and the other one was they don't give, they make up Abu Hassan. I said, okay, say let's be specific.
I'm not sure Maulana, this question to me or Maulana Abbas?
No, I'm trying to reconcile the two, so I won't think
Okay. Maybe I can check quickly, Maulana. First and foremost, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, the Mu'tazila, they reject Sifat.
Yeah.
But now, how do they reject Sifat? They got a nice argument. You understand? Mu'tazila reject Sifat in the sense, Allah huwa yani alimun, bila ilm. Allah huwa qadirun, bila qudra. Allah huwa bashirun, bila ru'ya. Because they say multiple attributes, sifats to Allah Ta'ala means multiple beings of Allah. Our jawab. Now I can't say what is the jawab of Hassan al-Basri's Ustad, but our Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah on that is that multiple sifats of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not mean multiples of Allah. You understand? How do they reject sifat? They don't say Allah Ta'ala is not alim. They say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alimun bila ilm. Allah Ta'ala don't need it. And if you heard one Mullah Fortune said this morning, the whole concept of the sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it goes around kawwala yukawwinu takwin. Everything of the sifat of the Maturidiyya goes in there. So the Ashaira, which is us, we are same with that. Yani all basically sifat rotates on that. So we say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is alimun. Yani alimun, yani ilm, qudra, all these things associated to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why the Mu'tazila is the issue? I'll tell you why is the Mu'tazila issue. Because they reject sifat. Today Salafiyah, they call us yani as-sab'iyah. Another name for us besides Ashariya is the Sab'iyahs. Because we firmly rotate and we evolve regarding the main 7 sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But then they have the audacity. So when it comes to the mutashabihat, Sheikh, is always regarding the sifat. I explained to you now that the madhahib of the ummah is the aqeedah of the ummah of the mutashabihat is just close within the four madhahib. You can either accept the first one, Jumhur, or you can go to Ba'du Salaf. But the danger part is when Ba'du Salaf claims to be Aqeedah Tabligh Islam faqat, that is the danger part. So we caution all our students and all the ulama to be very wary of that point. I hope I satisfied your question and your answer. Jazakumullah. One question.
Just leave the broker to oh, Mullah needs to leave, inshallah. Somebody is blocking the way.
Okay, Aziz, Molisa, what do you want?
Sir, perhaps not as to the point that one should be. The Mullah mentioned the dreams in Ramadan of Hassan al-Ashari, and then the Quran coming from the one Aqeedah to the other one. I heard everything Mullah said, but this was the first time I heard that. And what lesson is to be taken from the action transcending from one Aqeedah to the other? If we look at that dreams, Mullah, is there not some form of hope that if your heart is pure, then Allah will take you from wherever, unto haq? Is that what Mullah was trying to put it?
Yeah.
Because we're fighting each other in the roads as Matul, he is this and that. Mullah Ismail Ali gave me ijazat never even to speak about Aqeedah, so that's right. That's why I did. I didn't need to teach it. I didn't even need to write the exam. So I can ask this question about the dream. What I'm saying is, Mullah, that Allah Ta'ala obviously guided him from, because he's like that. Now just a minute.
Okay. This is the last one, then Mullah, we're going to wrap up. I'm also hungry also now. So if I get hungry, I get angry. So, Isma, the one lesson we can take from the storyline of Abu Hassan Ashari migrating from Batil to Haq is that all of us, we can make mistakes. And all of us can sin and commit a crime. But what we can learn from this scholar is that it's not late to come back to Sirat al-Mustaqim. Yeah, this chappie, Abu Hassan Ashari, was for 40 years Mu'tazila. And groomed by his stepfather, Ali al-Jubai. But yet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided him. That's why sometimes you see on YouTube, a lady, a Christian lady, which is laying in hospital, and she sees Muslim people coming in. And she says, this is the religion I wanted to accept. And this is 80 odd years old. And they read for her a kalima. You understand? And then she accepts Islam on her last day, literally speaking. So Allah Ta'ala makes qadr and taqdeer. So may Allah Ta'ala guide us all. Shukran for you guys for your attendance, for coming. And shukran to Mudisa for allowing this program. May Allah Ta'ala put barak and khair. And always make dua. Hey. And nothing, our bride is coming off. No, don't keep you strangers. You know where the madrasa is. No? So you must come, inshallah. Barakallah.
Before we go, inshallah, someone, Mullah Shaykh, can we learn It's the penny. No? Mullah Shaykh, can seat, please. Come, Zaid.
Zaid.
We'll make it after Salah.